That day, they boarded the Titanic with youth, fame, pride, and secrets that had not yet been named. Now, after nearly 3 decades, some have become Oscar legends. Some have gone through divorce, illness, and breakdowns. Some still live in the glow of the ship that never sinks in the audience's memory. And this is the journey then, now of Titanic. Number 1. Leonardo DiCaprio as Jack Dawson. Jack Dawson stepped onto Titanic like a wild beam of light in a closed upper-class world. And Leonardo DiCaprio, when filming in 1996 to 1997, was only 21 to 22 years old, carrying a youthful face that made the role become a symbol of an entire generation. In the film, Jack first appears with the fateful card game, a poor artist who wins a third-class ticket at the last minute, rushing onto the ship as if stepping into the greatest life of his own. From the noisy third-class cabins, rustic parties, to the first glance at Rose on the deck, Jack is not only a lover, but a gateway to freedom. He saves Rose from a desperate moment at the stern, teaches her to spit, brings her into a poor but radiant dance, then draws her in a closed room as if preserving a soul wanting to escape chains. When Titanic hits the iceberg, Jack shifts from a romantic young man to a survival guide, pulling Rose through flooded corridors, breaking doors, escaping California, clinging to every chance to live. Jack's freezing death in the Atlantic makes the role stand out because he does not need to live to the end of the film to become immortal. In real life, after Titanic, DiCaprio escaped the pretty boy image with a series of heavy roles and won an Oscar with The Revenant. His real-life drama often revolves around relationships, romance is scrutinized by media, and a private lifestyle. As of 2026, Leonardo DiCaprio is 51 years old, while Jack Dawson remains forever a 22-year-old in cinematic memory. Number 2. Kate Winslet as Rose DeWitt Bukater. Rose DeWitt Bukater did not step onto Titanic like a princess, but like a prisoner in a silk dress. And Kate Winslet, when filming in 1996 to 1997 at about 20 to 21 years old, turned that 17-year-old character into the beating heart of the entire film. At first, Rose is placed between her mother Ruth, fiancé Cal, and the upper class where every glance is a rule. She sits in luxurious dinners, silent before polite yet knife-cold conversations, then stands at the stern with thoughts of ending everything. Jack appears just in time, not as a rescuing prince, but as the first person to see the truth inside her. From there, Rose changes step by step. She learns to laugh in third class, dares to challenge Cal, dares to let Jack draw her, dares to run across a sinking ship to save the one she loves. In the disaster, Rose is no longer a controlled girl. She uses an axe to break handcuffs, wades through water, clings to life, and finally blows a whistle for rescue after Jack dies. The role stands out because Rose is the survivor carrying the memory of the entire ship. Love, guilt, loss, and the promise never let go. After the film, Kate Winslet became one of the most respected British actresses, winning an Oscar with The Reader. Continuing in both art films and blockbusters, her real life has had many marital changes, divorces, and media scrutiny over her appearance after Titanic. As of 2026, Kate Winslet is 50 years old, while Rose remains the girl who chose freedom in the coldest ocean of her life. Number 3. Billy Zane as Caledon Cal Hockley. Cal Hockley appears like a dark shadow covering Titanic's golden glow. And Billy Zane, when filming in 1996 to 1997 at about 30 to 31 years old, created a villain who is elegant, wealthy, but suffocatingly controlling. Cal does not need to shout at first. He controls Rose with a diamond ring, cold sweet words, possessive eyes, and contempt for Jack. In early scenes, Cal represents a class believing money can buy everything: honor, love, seats on lifeboats. When Jack enters the first-class dinner, Cal smiles politely but inside is humiliation. When Rose leans toward Jack, he reveals his true face: jealousy, violence, framing Jack for stealing the diamond, then chasing them with a gun in the sinking ship. That loss of control makes Cal memorable, because he is not just a rival, but a symbol of an old world sinking with Titanic. At the end, Cal survives by using a child to get on a lifeboat, but that survival has no glory. The film reveals he later commits suicide when his fortune collapses in the 1929 crisis. A cold ending fitting the character. In real life, Billy Zane continues acting in films, television, theater, and art, but Cal remains his most memorable role. His personal drama includes broken marriages, engagements and breakups, and a romantic life often appearing in entertainment news. As of 2026, Billy Zane is 60 years old, while Cal Hockley remains the arrogant face of power sunk underwater. Number 4. Kathy Bates as Margaret Molly Brown. Molly Brown enters Titanic not with classic aristocratic elegance, but with the heat of a self-made woman. And Kathy Bates, when filming in 1996 to 1997 at about 48 years old, brought a very different energy among first-class passengers. In the film, Molly is seen by upper-class women as new money, rich but not refined, loud but not proper. Yet she is one of the few who treats Jack kindly. When Jack is invited to a first-class dinner, Molly lends him a suit, helping a poor young man step into a room of people who believe they were born to rule the world. She observes Rose, Gal, and Jack with sharp yet warm eyes, like someone who understands dignity is not in name or wealth. When the ship sinks, Molly is not only afraid, she urges lifeboats to return for survivors, becoming a humanitarian voice in darkness. The role stands out because without many scenes, Molly leaves a strong impression. She is the rough, humorous, and brave conscience of Titanic. After the film, Kathy Bates continues as an acting icon with a decades-long career, having won an Oscar earlier with Misery and later remaining prominent on television. Her real life includes major challenges: divorce from Tony Campisi, battling ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and lymphedema. But Bates does not become a victim. She becomes a strong voice for health and resilience. As of 2026, Kathy Bates is 77 years old, while Molly Brown remains a warm flame in the freezing night of the sinking ship. Number 5. Frances Fisher as Ruth DeWitt Bukater. Ruth DeWitt Bukater is the kind of character that does not need weapons for the audience to feel pressure. And Frances Fisher, when filming in 1996 to 1997 at about 44 to 45 years old, turned that mother into the embodiment of upper-class society, suffocating Rose. Ruth appears beside her daughter with elegance, but every word is a binding rope. She does not force Rose with shouting, but with fear of losing status. The family is out of money, the father left debts, and marriage with Cal is a social lifeboat. In corset scenes, Ruth tightens Rose's dress like tightening her entire life. She sees Jack as a threat, not only because he is poor, but because he reminds Rose she has the right to choose. When disaster strikes, Ruth boards a lifeboat with the panic of someone who still does not fully understand her world collapsing. The role stands out because Ruth is not a loud villain like Cal. She is more frightening because she believes she is doing the right thing. She represents honor, class, and misguided sacrifice, where motherhood is mixed with survival calculation. In real life, Frances Fisher has a steady career in theater, television, and film, remembered through Unforgiven, Titanic, and later TV roles. Her most notable personal drama is her relationship with Clint Eastwood, ending after years together and having a daughter, Francesca Eastwood. Fisher remains active in the arts, maintaining a strong, sharp, and independent image. As of 2026, Frances Fisher is 73 years old, while Ruth remains a sad reminder that some cages are made of velvet, pearls, and prestige. Number 6. Gloria Stuart as Old Rose Dawson Calvert. There are memories that never grow old, and Old Rose is the one who preserves the entire soul of Titanic. As Gloria Stuart stepped into this role at the age of 86 to 87 during 1996 to 1997, bringing with her a lifetime of experience to tell a love story that sank to the bottom of the ocean. She appears at the very beginning as an elderly woman invited aboard a research vessel to help uncover the mystery of the diamond known as the heart of the ocean. But with just her gaze and voice, she pulls the audience back to 1912, where a young Rose once lived, loved, and lost everything. Old Rose is not merely a storyteller, she is the only living witness to a memory the world believed long buried. Through every flashback, her voice becomes the thread connecting past and present, love and death. The emotional peak lies not in tears, but in her calmness when speaking of Jack, the man who died so she could live. At the end, when she drops the diamond into the sea, it is not a romantic gesture, but the closing of a life circle, returning memory to the ocean. The role stands out because Gloria Stuart achieved something rare, making a present-day character as emotionally powerful as the past. In real life, she was a Hollywood star in the 1930s, stepped away from acting, then made a remarkable comeback with Titanic and received an Academy Award nomination at an advanced age. Her life had many changes, including a long career break, but not loud scandals, rather a journey of endurance. Gloria Stuart passed away in 2010 at the age of 100. If she were alive in 2026, she would be 116. But Old Rose remains forever at the moment she chose to let go of memory into the ocean. Number 7. Bill Paxton as Brock Lovett. Not everyone on Titanic belongs to 1912. Brock Lovett belongs to the present. And Bill Paxton at age 41 to 42 brought a very different perspective. A treasure hunter, cold, practical, Obsessed with material value, Brock opens the film by diving into the wreck, where everything is reduced to fragments covered in time's dust. He does not search for memory, he searches for diamonds. But the arrival of old Rose completely breaks his worldview. From someone focused only on profit, Brock becomes absorbed in the love story of Jack and Rose, silently listening as if living that past himself. His climax is not action, but inner transformation. From hunting material treasure to understanding the value of human memory. When Rose throws the diamond into the sea, Brock does not get angry, he quietly accepts it. Like someone who has realized something greater than money. The role stands out because it represents the audience. Curious at first, then captivated, finally moved. In real life, Bill Paxton was a versatile actor appearing in major films like Aliens and Apollo 13. However, his life ended suddenly in 2017 at age 61 due to complications from heart surgery, a controversial death that led his family to sue the hospital. If alive in 2026, he would be 71, but Brock Lovett remains the man standing between past and present, watching a story he can never own. Number 8. Bernard Hill as Captain Edward James Smith. Some leaders do not need to shout to be remembered. Captain Smith, portrayed by Bernard Hill at age 51 to 52, represents a calm, experienced commander facing the greatest disaster of his life. At first, he appears as a symbol of trust, the captain of the world's largest ship, the man passengers rely on. But when Titanic receives iceberg warnings, he does not slow down a small decision with massive consequences. When the collision happens, Smith does not panic, he accepts reality, orders evacuation, and tries to maintain order in chaos. Scenes of him standing silently in the bridge as water rises, refusing to flee, turn him into a symbol of honor and responsibility. The role stands out because it does not paint heroism, but shows a man who makes a mistake and chooses to face it until the end. In real life, Bernard Hill is also widely known for playing King Theoden in The Lord of the Rings, another leader facing destiny. He has a stable career with few scandals, focusing on acting rather than personal life. As of 2026, Bernard Hill is 81 years old, while Captain Smith remains forever on deck, facing the ocean and an irreversible decision. Number 9. David Warner as Spicer Lovejoy. Not all villains need the spotlight. Spicer Lovejoy, played by David Warner at age 55 to 56, is a quiet but terrifying presence. The perfect right-hand man to Cal, Lovejoy does not speak much, shows little emotion, but always appears at the right moment to observe, threaten, and pursue Jack. He discovers the relationship between Jack and Rose, assists Cal in framing Jack for stealing the diamond, and directly participates in the intense chase through the flooding ship. He has no personal backstory, but that anonymity makes him more dangerous. He is power serving power. The role stands out by creating constant pressure, like an unavoidable shadow. In real life, David Warner was a veteran British actor appearing in films like Tron, The Omen, and Shakespearean theater. His life was not filled with major scandals, but a long journey of dedication to art. David Warner passed away in 2022 at age 80 after battling cancer. If alive in 2026, he would be 85. But Spicer Lovejoy remains the cold stare in Titanic's flooded corridors. Number 10. Victor Garber as Thomas Andrews. Among people running for survival, Thomas Andrews chooses to stay. And Victor Garber at age 47 to 48 delivers one of the most human moments of the film. Andrews is the ship's designer, the man who understands Titanic better than anyone. When he realizes the extent of the damage after the collision, he does not hide the truth. The ship will sink. From that moment, he is no longer just an engineer, but a guide directing passengers, advising them to wear life vests, helping them find lifeboats. He does not try to save himself, he tries to save others. His final scene standing alone in the smoking room, adjusting a clock as water floods in, needs no dialogue but leaves a lasting impact. The role stands out for showing responsibility to the very end, a quiet but profound sacrifice. In real life, Victor Garber has a long career across Broadway, television, and film. Known for Alias and many strong supporting roles, he is openly gay and maintains a stable personal life with little scandal, representing professionalism and calmness. As of 2026, Victor Garber is 77 years old, while Thomas Andrews remains the man standing in a sinking ship, accepting mistakes and not turning away from them. Titanic is not just a ship that sank, but a place where time stopped with people carrying love, mistakes, and choices. They lived, fought, and sacrificed, and now they remain in cinematic memory, never disappearing.